Welcome, I'm Theodore Henry. The contents of Jamaica Magazine open up right now.
There's a lot more to Jamaica than just what meets the eye. I had always loved art. It was my first love. It set me free. I did some artwork for the Half Moon Hotel. And shortly after, 14 guests showed up at my gate thinking I had a gallery up here. And that gave me the idea that I need to have a gallery. And so the guests would come up, they see the garden, ask if they could go for a walk, but everybody came back saying we should make something of it. It was inspiring, and they described it in many ways.
When they come here, we give each guest a welcome and a little history about the place before they take the tour. There's one word that they repeat over and over again. Love. They feel love in this place.
One guest we had in the early years was from Germany. And he said, I spent 5 days on the beach looking up in these hills and just wondered what was life like up there. And he found us. People who travel want to experience. And this is what we try to offer, an experience.
Every guest that leaves this place say it, I came here as a guest and I felt like family.
Yeah.
Come to Jamaica and be our family.
We all have a story to tell. Mine is just one of millions that are out there, and they're all good.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, October 19, 2022. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, is confirming that the economy grew by 4.8% over the April to June 2022 quarter compared to the corresponding period in 2021. This was attributed to a 7.2% increase in the services industry, despite a 2% decline in the goods-producing industry. The details were provided by Statin's Director General, Carol Coy, during the Institute's virtual quarterly media briefing on Tuesday. Ms. Coy says the outturn was influenced by the revocation of the Disaster Risk Management Order, the expiration of the COVID-19 pre-test requirement for travel to Jamaica, and the entertainment sector's reopening.
When compared to the first quarter of 2022, that is the January to March, total value added at constant prices increased by 1.3%, a continuation of the trend observed since the third quarter of 2020.
Statin's Director General says the services industry saw improvement in all 8 subsectors, most notably hotels and restaurants, which went up 56%. The decline in the goods-producing industries is largely attributed to lower outputs in mining and quarrying, which contracted by 62.5%, even as there were increases in agriculture, forestry and fishing of 6.3% and manufacturing of 5.6%. A group of budding entrepreneurs are being advised to explore getting their goods and services into the export market in order to create wealth for themselves and the country. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce Aubin Hill made the appeal recently as he addressed 24 graduates of the Central Jamaica Social Development Initiative's Youth Entrepreneurship Training Program. He encouraged them to immediately begin talking to organizations like the Bureau of Standards Jamaica and Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, for help with getting into the export market.
Last year, we spent $5.975 billion to import goods and services. You know how much we exported? $1.441 billion. That's a negative gap of over $4.5 billion US. If you breathe, you must export it.
The future businessmen and women received intensive training in several areas of production, including clothing, entertainment, catering, farming, livestock and poultry, natural juices, scented candles, and food processing. The training was conducted by the Heart NSTA Trust through sponsorship from Barita Foundation. Support was also provided by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, the Companies Office of Jamaica, Tax Administration Jamaica, the Social Development Commission, and others. Government will be making several upgrades to the National Water Commission, NWC's distribution network in the next financial year. Minister with responsibility for the entity, Matthew Samuda, says a national non-revenue water NRW reduction program will be coming on stream,
which will go about changing the piping network, managing the pressure, ensuring that your pumps are properly calibrated, and ensuring that you get the water in your pipes and you don't see it leaking and running down the road.
This will build on the NRW program already in operation for Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine, which has so far cut water wastage by 50,000 cubic meters daily. In addition, Minister Samuda says interventions are coming to further reduce the NWC's electricity usage to save on operational costs. This will begin with the changing out of about $900 million to $1 billion of the oldest, most unreliable electricity-intensive pumps annually.
So as we move to renewables, to cut the cost and to ensure that we're using clean energy, we'll also be removing the bad appliances. The same way they say buy newer appliances in your house to use less electricity, it is the same process that NWC is going on to.
Minister Samuda was speaking at a recent ceremony to officially commission the newly upgraded Sligoville water system in St. Catherine. Students, parents, and teachers are receiving training on how to respond to bullying and cybercrime to reduce the negative consequences they can have on children. This is being done through a series of virtual workshops being held by the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA. Chief Executive Officer of the CPFSA, Rosalie Gage-Gray, says the workshops are aligned with the multi-sectoral and holistic approach needed to help tackle the issue of violence in schools. In highlighting its importance, she reveals that a study done by the CPFSA through the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, shows that 6 in 10 Jamaican students have been bullied at some point in their lives. At the first anti-bullying workshop, Corporal Samantha Ewan of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Cyber Safety Unit cautioned students about the dangers of cybercrimes as technology continues to advance. Meanwhile, schools are being urged to adopt explicit cyberbullying rules, and individuals are advised to phone the 24-hour helpline 211 to report cyberbullying or any type of child abuse. And finally, President of the Crown Council of Ethiopia, His Imperial Highness Prince Ermias Sahle Selassie, has hailed Jamaica as a vibrant democracy and a good example for other countries. Prince Ermias, who is the grandson of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, was giving brief remarks during a visit to the Senate last Friday.
Democracies evolve, and the Jamaican experiment of different people, one nation, is something that will resonate in any nation. And this is the challenge we hope that Africa can learn from.
He also expressed gratitude to speak in the Senate, where his grandfather spoke several years ago.
For me, it's a special privilege to be in this room with you today. It's a room I've witnessed on video only during my grandfather's address to the nation. So I feel also part of that history.
Prior to his address in the Upper House, the Prince met with the Senate members, including the President of the Chambers, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the Clerk of the Houses of Parliament. Prince Ermias, who is in Jamaica for several scheduled activities, will depart the island on Saturday. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Prime Minister delivers more than 100 homes on the new social housing program, hands over units under Phase 1 of Roseneath, and calls on Jamaicans to work together to build a better future. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Vanessa Silvera. 100 units have so far been built and delivered to needy Jamaicans under the government's new social housing program, the NSHP. This following the delivery of 2 units in St. Catherine recently. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who visited the parish to hand over the dwellings, says it's in keeping with the need to build organized communities across the island.
Whatever we are going to do with land, it must be done in a formal way. This business of just seeing land and go occupying it has to stop. We have to be very smart about land. And if people build in ways that are not structured, it makes it very difficult for the government to provide for you and provide the necessary services that you need.
The first of the two homes, which was delivered in Pusey, was completed in less than 3 months at a cost of $4.9 million. The Prime Minister handed over the second unit, a 3-bedroom house, to Patrick Watson in Cudgers Hill in St. Catherine. Earlier in the week, 30 new homes were delivered under Phase 1 of Roseneath Park Housing Development in Old Harbour, St. Catherine. They are from a total of 140 detached 2-bedroom units being purchased by the National Housing Trust from Roseneath Developers Limited under the Guaranteed Purchase Programme. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says a total of 70 units will be made available in Phase 1.
Of the 70 units being purchased by the NHD in Phase 1, 19 have been reserved for public sector workers and persons with disabilities. The remaining 51 were offered to selectees. 69% are women. 33% are young adults between 19 and 35 years of age. 37% are not so young adults between 46 and 55 years of age.
A modified wheelchair accessible unit was presented to former member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Constable Owen Graham, who was injured while on duty. Roseneath Park will be a complete community with paved roads, traffic signs, stormwater drains, central sewage treatment system, and other infrastructure. Land within the development has also been earmarked for green spaces, recreational and commercial activities, a school, and a church. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has ordered an investigation into land scams being run by criminal enterprises across the island. He says personnel from the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Major Organised Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, have been dispatched to conduct a comprehensive investigation into these reports. Areas under surveillance include Mount Edgecombe in St. Anne, Naysbury Grove and Thetford in St. Catherine, and Retirement and Providence in St. James.
This is a dangerous happening, and as a country we must be united and take a stand against this pervasive criminal activity and stop it from taking root. I also want to advise anyone who may know of any such possible arrangements for illegal transfer of government lands to visit the offices of MOCA and the JCF and make a report. MOCA offers an online platform for which you can make a report. www.moca.gov.jn if you don't want to call them. Or you can go and visit CTOC and make a complaint.
Persons may also make reports to the National Land Agency. The Prime Minister was providing an update on the removal of structures from lands adjoining the Clifton community in St. Catherine during last week's sitting of Parliament. On National Heroes Day, the Prime Minister joined Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen and Lady Allen at King's House for the ceremony of investiture and presentation of national honours and awards. More than 200 persons were awarded for their extraordinary contribution to nation building and acts of heroism in the face of grave danger. Among them were Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Olivia Grange, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Audrey Sewell, actress and philanthropist Sherry Lee Ralph, and Olympic gold medalist Shelly Ann Fraser-Price. Finally, on Monday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness called on Jamaicans to renew their commitment to building the nation. While delivering his annual National Heroes Day message, Mr. Holness stressed the need for a return to law and order in schools, the home, and on the roads.
With knowledge of the suffering and sacrifice of those who came before us, let us commit to respecting ourselves at the most basic level by respecting each other's right to life. Marcus Garvey said it. If we as a people realize the greatness from which we came, we would be less likely to disrespect ourselves. Let us agree not to shed the blood of our brothers and sisters and to resolve conflicts peacefully.
And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister. Until then, I'm Vanessa Silvera.
Remnants of the past have truly helped to shape who we are now. As we continue celebrating Heritage Month, here's a look at the last 60 years of Jamaica's music and dance history.
I started out like this. Junga 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 junga. Chick chick chick.
The Lady G's, the Lady Saws, we had them.
Rude is in court now, boys. Rude is in court.
Talk about dub that people like Scratch Perry and King Tubby, what they did, and that is influencing modern music production today.
The torso is tilted forward, the arms are going up and down, side to side, forward and back.
You know, the original sound system owners, Sir Coxsone Dodd, Tom the Great Sebastian, Thomas Wong.
If you look at stuff like, you know, Sata Masagana, you know, people love the song and love the rhythm.
But prior to that, you had mental music that was heavily a reflection of our Jamaican folk culture.
Rude is in court now, boys. Rude is in court.
This is a story about Jamaica. Well, more so, its unique soundtrack and exceptional tunes. A story about the beats that keep the feet, hips, arms, hearts, and souls of Jamaicans moving.
There is a nationalist movement which is infected by a whole regional thrust for self-determination because, of course, you know, we're coming from federation and those times. So the music, of course, becomes a real expression of the identity of people in the country at the time.
Ska emerged as Jamaica's first major musical movement, with its celebratory sound coinciding with the nation's independence in 1962.
Join hands to hands, children started to dance, we're independent.
Modern Jamaican music can trace its origin to the sound system. Now, the sound system can trace its roots to Tom Wong, the man who had the sound system called Tom the Great Sebastian. After that, people like Arthur Duke Reid and Clement Sir Coxsone Dodd, they decided that they were making their entry into the sound system business. And one of the ways they were able to compete against each other was to have exclusive music from abroad, which they would scrape off the names of the songs and play them so that their competitor would not be able to produce that song. The mood in America, where they were getting the music from, shifted and the beats changed technically. And what happened was that the sound system operators decided that they needed to find a way of getting exclusive music, and one of the ways they thought they could do so was to create their own. And that's how ska was born.
1962, when Jamaica get independent, I decided to sit and write a song of the independence. And that's how I came up with Forward March.
It was very upbeat, if you notice the energy of the music. It was very optimistic. And the anthem for that period, for me, would be Derek Morgan's Forward March, which was a very positive, forward-looking kind of song to anticipating all the benefits that would flow from independence.
That night, 1962, on the 6th of August, when them was going to have this celebration of Jamaica independent, I was the one on a truck back, you know, them cut off back truck, and with a band on top of it and singing, and I sing forward march on that.
There was a close relationship between music and dance, and that followed through because our music practitioners were creating songs with movement in mind, because that was a part of the Jamaican thinking retention, yeah, at that time. So we have ska, 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 ska. The shape of the movement had a resemblance of our folk form, of our revivalism. So in ska, the torso is tilted forward. Now there was the options of the arm going up and down, side to side, forward and back. But the overall shape of the movement was very low. Also, the whole idea of bounce, giving into gravity. So there is a constant bounce, there's a constant lowering of the pelvis.
By 1966, ska had made way for rock steady, which had now become the popular music form out of Jamaica, riding the waves for approximately 2 years. The genre brought to the forefront musicians like Jackie Jackson and singers such as Alton Ellis and Ken Booth.
I know you will redeem in the land of the black, gold, and green. Another thing with this kind of, it's very energetic, you know. When somebody dances all 5 ska songs, you know, you get kind of so much energy you have to put into it, you get tired like. So I guess the musicians them decided that they want to slow it down a little bit, that people can more relax, you know, in the dancing and thing. So here comes the rocksteady moment, you know.
It was definitely a less exuberant type of music. And some people say that that is reflective of the fact that people were coming to terms with what the independence project meant, and they were not as confident or not as expectant as they were a few years before when Jamaica got independence.
My biggest hit during that time was The Train Is Coming. Train is coming, baby. Said the train is coming now, you know. Then comes coupled on a string. Those songs Moving Away. A whole host of songs, you know.
If we were to identify any dominant theme in rocksteady, love and, you know, just personal relationships, you know, between a man and a woman.
No, no, no.
There was a on-the-spot movement. So the idea was not to cover space, but to stay cool, a sense of consciousness. So the movement was always coming back to center because you are taking control of your space. So it is an undisturbed, cool, the rude boy thing.
It was soon the late 1960s, and what continued as a demonstration of our ingenuity and innovation, as well as a reflection of our souls as Jamaicans, was the evolution of rocksteady to reggae.
Sold I to the merchant ships.
So reggae comes along at a point when Jamaica is now mature in the development of indigenous music. And reggae becomes message music, influenced by Rastafari's ideological positioning. And that, of course, mixes, you know, Garveyism, Pan-Africanism with a certain level of self-determination and self-sufficiency.
This is why the Bob Marley is so successful, the Burning Spears and a whole lot of people, because the message of the music resonated internationally with the struggles of poorer people and people who are having social and cultural and economical struggle.
That period too, musical greats such as U-Roy helped to start the dub revolution in Jamaica's music history, with songs rapping over pre-recorded tracks from classic reggae recordings.
Of course, when we got into the reggae era, the themes changed, the mood, and so too, of course, the movements. We got a lot more of the movements and motions and meanings that we would find at the bubble camps at the Nyabingi 12 tribe sessions, a lot of swaying, motions with the body, the head nods, and a lot more of that religious reverence in the body, but still in the dance halls.
At the turn of the late 1970s, a new beat was formed, one that would share the stage with reggae, even as it traveled globally.
And me, she want, see how me cute.
So the dancehall was a space, and then it moved to become a genre. So then everybody, women and men, dance close together and dance and rubber dub and all of that.
Dancehall, of course, completely in an ethnomusicological context, different because you're getting staccato rhythms now, a faster paced beat. There's a relationship between the two. But dancehall emerges as Jamaica's premier street theatre.
Dancehall and the rise and the growth of dancehall music came about when Steely and Clevie came on the scene and started digitizing the music, so to speak. They started using drum machines to program the drum pattern of the music, and Steely was one of the baddest keyboard player of all times.
So dancehall, as Jamaica's premier street theatre, is the longest living genre, musicologically speaking now, but it also begins to define Jamaican indigenous music precisely because it also is a space.
By the 1980s, there was now a distinct line between dancehall and reggae. Performers such as Supercat and Yellowman were modifying the template for modern Jamaican dancehall music with the emergence of a much rougher style and salacious themes. The 1990s saw dancehall records being dominated by lecherousness and the rude boy culture. But at the same time too, there were songs echoing conscious themes.
So in the 90s, you have the fun girl songs, but you're going to have the whole heap of reality songs where I project what is happening at the time. Like, take for instance, a man like Bounty Killer. When you hear him, they say, down in the ghetto, the poor now have a thing.
You definitely had the rise of the younger males especially who were hungry and energetic to develop their own personalities and bring forth their skills and career. Right along with that came the movements, of course. Bogle dance, created by Gerald Bogle Levy in 1992. You had World Dance, which followed up in 1994, and so many others. We went on to see the Butterfly, the Tatty, the Prang, a host of dancehall movements, and with that, the rise of dancehall dancers. So you got a lot more aggressive movement, more bold movements, and of course you got movements that would also reflect what was happening in the general society. As you know, dance doesn't operate in a vacuum, so it's intrinsically linked to music.
But no musical genre developed after the 1960s isn't influenced by Jamaican music.
Thanks for inviting us into your homes, offices, and other spaces for the last 30 minutes. We're here for your viewing every day, so be on the lookout for what the Jamaica Magazine team will bring to you tomorrow. Remember that more information can be accessed on our website at www.jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.